Hello, 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 and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Jameelah, and I am a master manifester, and I'm sure you are too, because you're watching content like this. The name of this channel is Manifesting Magic, the practical way, because adding some practicalities to your magic can really help your manifestations unfold. We live in a very practical world, so to ignore that means to fall behind in several areas of your life, right? Anyway, I want to talk about today is the big picture, right? If you are a big picture thinker, and my thoughts is that you probably are, because most people that feel like they can create the life they choose, that are working on spiritual and personal and professional development, are usually bigger thinkers, right? And so the thing about being a big thinker, when I say a big thinker, it's a person that's always looking at the bigger picture. Sort of, what does everybody get out of this? What can I bring to the whole? That sort of thing. And then also, how can I be the best individual so that I can be a better part of that whole? That's and also you can also see connections in things where a lot of people don't see connection, right? Where a lot of people put little boxes around ideas or certain activities. And you're like, well, that translates over here. It's kind of the same thing. It's the reason why it was so hard to convince people that I could teach sociology after getting a degree in sociology when I've been teaching computer science. It's like, man, the world and that mindset is really hard for me to work with, because I'm like, what makes you think that either one of these subjects is so hard that a person cannot be an expert in both? It's not that hard. And what you'll find if you're a big thinker is that it doesn't take a lot to be impressive. Like, a lot of people think, oh, I have to be this or that, and they get caught up in the mind, I'll call it the mind tornado of what they can and can't do and what they should and shouldn't do. But really, in most environments, it's not very hard to be impressive, right? All you have to do is look around the environment and see what it's lacking and see what it needs. And then you become that thing, right? Like, if you walk into an environment that has an issue with efficiency, and you're like, oh, well, I'm not super efficient, but I have more efficiency than what's happening. Let me just be extra efficient. And then I'm going to stand out, and I'm going to create the pathway for myself to be able to do more, to have more creativity and more freedom in the environment, and to be an influencer, a leader, and to be looked up to some degree, given the big stuff, the stuff that everybody wants to receive in most environments. I think that we get caught up sometime in thinking that we have to do so much to be impressive in a lot of environments, but it's just not the case. I would say this, I was doing interviews yesterday with for a position that they're hiring for here on campus. And we have been through a bunch of them, right? A couple of the people, I can understand now when people talk about not good fits. Like, they weren't a fit for where the department's trying to go. They're fit for where it's at right now. So that happens. But one of the things everybody in the meeting was so impressed by, one of the ladies had a website with like all of her accomplishments on it. And I've had that since I was like in 2005. And when I started doing work for them, they were so excited about that. I'm like, do you know how easy it is for people to create a website and pay $19.99 for a year for a domain name, and it can be your first and last name.com. Most people don't have that blockage. Depends on your name. Most people's names are not taken. And it's just like a log for you to start putting all of your accomplishments and things. And it's not LinkedIn. It's a little bit better because you can add portfolio stuff, videos you've done, all kind of links, everything that you've done, right? And so it just showed me bigger, like, when you're in these environments, it's so easy to get caught up in the minutia of the little decisions, right? And you have to remind yourself, wait, I'm big picture. I can't get caught up into whether we should say this in the workshop or not say this, or would this be better? Say whatever you want to say. It doesn't really matter. If people learn one thing in the workshop, it's fine. It doesn't matter. When I see myself sharing a point or a perspective and it goes back and forth too many times, I'm like, it's okay. And people think that it means that I'm aggravated or I'm mad. It's really not. I mean, I'm like, I do it with a smile. It's okay, because it's way more important to you than it'll ever be to me. Because if it was my thing or what I was working on or something, I would do it this way. And since we don't have an agreement on like why it should go this way or that way, you seem to be way more invested than I am. So go ahead and take it. And it's perfectly okay. So that's the reminder. If you're a big picture thinker, keep your mindset in the big picture area. Don't spend your mindset working out the minutia and trying to show people that you can do this or you can do that, or you're better at this or you're better at that, or whatever it is. Putting other people in the equation too much. Make sure that you are focused on, I need to be the very best big thinker that I can be. And if I'm going to be a big thinker for the day, what do I need to do? First, I need to organize my day. Then I need to organize my projects. Then I need to decide how long they're going to take. Then I need to decide which ones are a priority and which ones are semi-priority and which ones can really wait until next week, kind of thing, right? That's going to be the main purpose of it. When you're a big picture thinker, you also have to think like, what I'm doing is not just the time slot that I'm doing it for somebody else, a 9 to 5 or whatever. You have to remember that everything you do is how you do anything you do, right? So you can't go be a rock star and as soon as 5 o'clock hits, you're just like, I'm done with that. No, if it's something you're passionate about or something that you think is creative that can improve the environment, work on it on the weekend when nobody's around. Spend some extra time on it. Stay later. Go through lunch, whatever. Because when you're creating that big picture mindset for yourself, it won't have anything to do with what other people are doing. It won't have anything to do with whether or not you're getting paid to do it. You know how many things I've done for free? Lots. I've spoken at places for free so many times. I've done presentations. I've done workshops. I've been a part of panels and all that. All free. But it's definitely created the portfolio that I have to be able to go do what I do at most places and be rewarded, or most places and people are like, how can we get you? You know what I mean? And so all the whole while I wasn't thinking like, oh, they're not paying for me for that. I don't, I'm off now. I don't have to work on that. This job doesn't require that much, so I won't do that much. No, that's small thinking. That's thinking about the other people in the outside way too much. Even the last position I had at the other university that I had to leave, I was doing work things that wasn't even remotely in a job description, but it was things that I knew how to do and I knew would improve and impact the environment for the better. And it did. When I was, looking around for a new position or, trying to figure out what I wanted to do next. One of the biggest things that I had was one of my previous supervisors sending out all these videos and creative projects that I did. And he was so excited to share. Because it wasn't about that position. It wasn't even about the people. It wasn't even about the paycheck. It was about me and my personal constitution and what was important to me and the type of energy and the type of projects and creativity that I want to bring to the table. It has nothing to do with these little menial things that everybody's all, should we serve lunch? No, we don't want to give out cookies. We don't want to, that doesn't work, blah, blah, blah. I'm just like, you don't know what doesn't work. You don't know what doesn't work because you haven't been consistent and you haven't tried enough and you haven't created anything, right? And so a lot of people get caught up in that really small mind box thinking. There was a girl in the interviews who had been an event planner, and the position is like to support faculty to some degree. And the person I was doing an interview with, the other person, they kept going on about how she should apply for events. I'm like, you ever thought that she might want to change her career? Is that okay? For people to want to change or shift their career or move into something that they think is better suited for them? I'm like, stop focusing on that resume and trying to say what you think they're not capable of doing because they haven't done it in the past. I mean, well, then that means none of us would have any opportunities, right? I'm like, the main picture is, do you see the qualities in her that would transfer and translate to what's being needed in the qualities of this person? Because all the tech skills, and you can learn all that stuff. It's nothing worse than people. I've been working in IT for years, where people think that it's so hard to learn how to click a button and what to do with a computer. Yes, there's a tech savviness, people that know how to make connections when it comes to technology. But for the most part, if you teach somebody how to use a piece of software, they can do it. It's nothing worse than people doing jobs and thinking that it's so amazing that somebody else can't walk in and do it. That is the nature of a job. It is niche because somebody else can walk in and do that niche because several people are advanced in that niche. You're not the only one. And so it's so funny to watch these little boxes people create for themselves and how they try to put them on everybody else in every environment. That's small thinking. Be a big thinker. Big thinkers don't worry about the petty minutia. They show up, get the job done. They don't waste their time. They make other people respect their time, and they make a personal constitution for how they want to operate in the world. And that goes across the board. And they have an agenda about how they're going to spend their time and what they're going to do with their day. And other people have no choice but to respect it, because they see the outcomes and they see the productivity and they see how the big thinking and the creativity is creating a big expansion in their environment, and they go ahead and let it breathe. So if you're thinking like that, don't get too distracted or too caught up in people around you and what they're thinking, what they're doing, what they can't. How you do anything is how you do everything. Look for the gaps in the environment. Decide, how can I fill this gap? How can I create something? Don't look for accolades. Don't look for, you're so great, you're amazing. That stuff comes automatically anyway. It doesn't take much to be impressive. Think about what you want to get out of it, what your personal constitution is, and then go create. And in that process, you'll always be creating the life that you choose. Be consistent with that mindset and be a big thinker. Big thinkers. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.